So let's use reframing to look at our work. And we're only going to be using the first two steps here to map the assumptions that have to do with our work. What are the elements that are involved in our working lives? So the first one is income. Many of us work to earn a wage, to earn a living. The second one could be structure. Work really structures our lives. Work decides when we have to be at the office, when it's weekend, when there's a holiday, when we retire. Imagine not having that structure in our lives. Another aspect is identity. We are what we do. Many of us define ourselves through the job that we have. And we even do that when we've retired. We say, I used to be a doctor, or I used to be a lawyer. So the identity and the status that comes with that identity are very important. The fourth element is colleagues. Let's not forget that most of us work with other people. And these colleagues are not quite friends. They're people that we have to work with. Sometimes we don't actually like them. But this is a community. This is a group of people with which we spend our lives. Now, the fifth element is a bit more personal again, and that has to do with your talents. There is something that you do in your work that you're good at, or something that you've learned to become good at. So being able to use your talents is very important for the satisfaction and the purpose that you find in your work. Because the last element is really meaning or purpose. It is really, what do you do your work for? What is it that you get out of your work? So look at this picture. We put work in the middle, and we have income, structure, identity, colleagues, talents, and purpose. These 6 elements have to do with our work. Now imagine if we take one of these elements out. What if we take out the element of purpose? You still have the structure and the colleagues and the identity, but you don't really think that this is what you should be doing with your life. That is kind of complicated. Imagine that we take out the income, because you already have made enough money with your online whatever that you don't need to worry about money anymore. But people still work when they're rich because all the other elements of work are still at play. Imagine if we take out structure because you're self-employed and you need to develop your own structure. Now, artists need to develop their own structure in their work, and it's actually a lot harder to develop your own structure than it is to just go to the office when your boss tells you to go to the office. Don't underestimate the role of structure in your work. So what would happen if we take one or more of these elements out of our frame of work? Perhaps you could decide for yourself if you have all these 6 elements at the moment, and what happens when some of these elements get taken out. And imagine what happens when you retire, because when you retire or when you get fired, basically all these elements go out at the same time. Perhaps you still keep a certain form of income because you have a pension or because you get unemployment benefit. But your income will change and all the 5 other elements of your work will disappear. And that's why getting fired, losing your job, or retiring is such a dramatic existential change in people's lives. And we should never underestimate that. But perhaps that frame can then help you to rebuild that. How, after retirement, will you rebuild your life? How, instead of the community of colleagues, will you find a community of friends? How will you make a new identity, which is the identity after retirement, which is not related to the job you used to do before? How will you find a new structure in your life? That structure is your days and your weeks and your months. How will you use your talents? How will you get a sense of purpose? Good luck.